Welcome to Not in ShawScope. I'm Darren Jones. Him over there is...
Is that me, is it?
That's you, that is, yeah.
I'm a silly Billy.
You are a silly Billy. And what are you called?
Silly Billy.
Yes, that's his name. That's
Silly
Billy,
oh,
yes.
so Mr. Billy over there.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
named...
I'm Randy Ronald. That's me.
See, this is why I don't like starting off the podcast, because I always say something sensible,
Right.
and then you go silly, and then I want to say something silly.
Right.
And then when it comes back to my turn and I want to do something silly, A, the moment's gone, and B, I can't actually think of anything silly.
Right.
I'm just that limited an individual. So, give me your sympathy.
It's all about empathy, and I feel as if the viewer feels your pain, Darren.
Yes,
so,
I think so.
All right. Yeah.
Yes. So, today, we are doing a little bit of a mop-up sort of episode. So, we're doing like the bin ends.
Do you like my lamb chop t-shirt?
Oh, I do like that.
Very nice.
I do like that.
By the
Chop.
way.
Just says chop.
Yeah.
Chop.
That is absolutely excellent. Yes. Actually, I got stopped in the supermarket the other day because of my t-shirt. Not this t-shirt. This is my Master of the Flying Guillotine t-shirt. But I was wearing my t-shirt with a sausage on a fork on, a la Grange Hill intro.
Right.
And a man, that's it. And a man stopped me and says, "I'm really sorry to stop you, sir. I need to ask you a strange question." I said, "Okay, what's the question?" And he says, "Where'd you get that shirt from?" And I told him. So I'm proliferating the sausage on fork t-shirt goodness.
I watched a film the other day with, it was Adventures of a Private Eye, the second in the Adventure Confessions rip-off trilogy.
Yeah. With the man who's not a patch on Robin Asquith, whose name I forget.
No, but well, the first one was Barry Evans, and then they even got a Barry Evans replacement.
Oh, wasn't that? But I thought Barry Evans was in 3 or 4 of them.
No, it's a Barry Evans lookalike who I forget his name, but he was like quite a big, ended up being quite a successful music producer. He like discovered Sheena Easton and stuff like that.
Okay.
But there's a woman, and I was like, why do I know her so well? And I'm blanking on her name, but she was for years and years and years and years. She was like the bohemian, slightly strict, weirdo art teacher in Grange Hill, if you remember her.
Oh, okay.
If I put the picture up, you'd probably recognize her. But,
yeah. Okay.
She was in an Adventures. I don't think she didn't get her kicked off in it, but she's in it. Yeah.
Oh, very good.
Was that the series that like Pertwee is in one of those?
He's in that one. He's in Adventures.
That's the one he was in. Yeah.
Yes.
Quite bizarre.
I thought he was in one of the other rip-offs. I thought Pertwee was in one of the Adventures rip-offs.
I'm guessing I can't remember. I think he might be in at least one more. I think he's in.
Is that the one he's a policeman in? Is he a policeman?
No. He's the private eye.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And he's got suave, and he's got his medallion, and
super weird. That
it is weird to think there was a time where Wurzel Gummidge was considered like a ladies' man, because he's always looked like a root vegetable to me.
Yeah, he's a bit gnarled, isn't he? He's a bit like.
I mean, I like him, but
yeah. I mean, he'd make if you saw John Pertwee's face, but it was a stick you found on the ground.
Yes,
it would be a really cool stick because it'd be all twisted and gnarled.
Yeah,
yes,
and like one of those tangly sticks. But as a face, it's it's not.
I can see that. Like how people find Jesus Christ in a
tortilla.
Or something. You'd find John Pertwee on an oak or something.
Oh, we need to manufacture that. We need to do some really bad Photoshop
right.
of a bit of wood and turn it into John Pertwee and then make it get it in the 14 Times or National Geographic. Yeah, there's our homework.
How do we get to hear from what are we supposed to be talking about right now, Darren?
So what we're talking about today. Yes, so what we're talking about today is we're jumping off from the ShawScope or in ShawScope podcast, and we want to do a bit of Betty Lottie and sort of late stage Betty Lottie, because she wasn't around for that long, where she formed her own production company and started making films. So today we are doing Duel at the Supreme Gate from 1968. For some reason, I didn't actually write the name of her production company down. Clive will know.
Yes, it is Golden Eagle.
There you go. And yeah, so that's a bit of wuxia. It's also kind of it's in the same strata as the wuxia films that followed Dragon Gate Inn anyway.
Yeah.
So it's in that flavour. And then talking about Dragon Gate Inn, you were saying?
No, I was going to say it was an accident as well, because originally I was planning on, because we talked Betty Lottie and we obviously we are talking. Yes, we have done one other Cathay film at one point, because I think one of the
Chang Che
screened
yeah
was a Cathay one we talked about, right? But we've been keeping an eye on Cathay and looking for an excuse to mention it now and again, right? Or we haven't got around to it. And I was thinking, oh, Betty Lottie did some films at Cathay. So I actually thought Duel at Supreme Gate was one of those. And then discovered, oh, no, hang on, even better than that. I didn't know that her and her brother and, the director and someone else all formed this, and they made a handful of films. So, Duel at...
Yeah, it's like 5 films or something, isn't it?
Yeah, one of those, yeah.
Yeah. So
we'll get back to Cathay at some point in another knot.
Yeah, that's coming. Yeah. Well, after we finish this batch, why don't we just do a Cathay special anyway?
Well, problem with we'll
listen here, Clive. Yeah, it's not. We're not going to get to it if we don't.
No. But what I mean is we've got other.
Listen here, goodbye.
Business to get to it.
Other irons in the fire.
Yeah. Plus, as well, we have to even talk about Shaw Brothers at some point.
At some point, we need to move forward with that project.
Yeah. So anyway, then we're going back to bouncing off King Hu at Shaw Brothers, which became the not Dragon Gate Inn episodes that we're doing. So I don't know how. I mean, is this probably going to be the last Dragon Gate Inn related one? I would imagine. So.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which isn't Dragon Gate related at all, really. But
no.
But that's what led us to it.
Yeah, exactly. So we're doing,
and I'm glad we did, because I really enjoyed that as well. We'll get to that, but
we've had a good. I've enjoyed all this whole batch actually.
That's
sort of.
Okay.
I've got complex feelings for one of them, but So then we're bouncing off of King Hu to look at the King Hu scripted Dragon Gate from 1975, which doesn't have an awful lot to do with Dragon Gate in either.
No.
And then we're heading all the way into 2003 to have a look at the quite avant-garde Goodbye Dragon Inn. So,
which does feature 2 of the stars of the original, which is
just a cameo, really, though, isn't it?
Yes, but they're in there, which is nice to see them as doddering old granddads. Something sweet about it.
So we'll get to that. That's the one. Unsurprisingly, I've got complicated feelings about. But so should we just dive straight into Duel at Supreme Gate?
Yes. Yeah.
So directed Yang Kui Feng, who directed Dream of the Red Chamber. Interestingly, it shows. Betty Lottie's in it. Chang Yang, Kelly Lai, Sek Kin is the bad guy. Yam Ho, Wong Ping, Hao Li Jen, and pretty much some of the stars that I hadn't really come across too much.
So this is coming out of Taiwan, Mandarin language. Sorry, it's not Taiwan, it's Hong Kong, but it's Mandarin language, and it's Golden Eagle. And yes, so Golden Eagle was formed by Betty Lottie, her brother Kelly Lai Chan, who plays the villain in this film, the director, Yang Kui Feng, and his missus, who was the screenwriter, Yi Fan. Yeah. And Kelly Lai Chan, by the way, the brother who plays the villain, production manager on The Big Boss.
Oh, I didn't catch that. Oh, very interesting. Yeah. Yeah. So this is kind of a proper wuxia 1968 extravaganza.
Convoluted little story, this one.
I like this though. I'm enjoying this.
Are you going to have a crack at
like
the
this
plot
film.
then, seeing as you enjoy it so much? Or
yeah, so it's kind of in the martial world. You know, there's Betty Lottie comes from like a clan of well-respected kind of martial artists.
This is the Supreme Gate clan, right?
The Supreme Gate clan, yes.
Which is odd, actually. I think the English language title kind of misrepresents DUEL at the Supreme Gate. It makes it sound like a location.
Like a place, yeah, exactly.
But it's not.
Which I suppose it is, because it's their place.
It's
where
the
the
school,
battle happens.
Their school of martial arts.
Yeah. But yeah, they're all, but they're all called, you know, it's like the Sun, which is their surname. It's like the Sun School, isn't it? But so anyway, so she's part of this big thing. They have this massive rivalry with Sek Kin and his school, and he's got super duper martial arts powers where he does a special move. And
isn't it fun, by the way? I think for us, for our generation after, obviously Sek Kin was Han, right, in Head of the Dragon.
Yeah.
Isn't it really interesting? Because it's always, for some reason, whenever I see him in something, because that's like towards the end of his career, right? Whenever I see him in anything now pre that.
Sorry, I'm correcting you there. It's not anywhere near the end of his career.
When did he die?
He's in Buddha's Palm, isn't he?
Ah, right, yeah. So no, yeah. So
he's. I think he's there. It's still, even into the 90s.
You can. Enter the Dragon was like, in its day, it was like a almost like an extended cameo for those in the know, right? They would have. People would have been following him, and it's somehow it's really a pleasure to see him in earlier stuff and kind of piece to. I see, because there's something quite. He's such a kind of scenery. He's something with Jack Palance about him, isn't he?
Yes, like, definitely Jack Palance.
He's quite, just to appreciate, like, because ahead of our time, right? So he's not necessarily one of our go-to guys, but I'm learning more about him. You kind of, it's fun to kind of learn. Okay, that's why he was a star, right?
Right.
Yeah. So he's the rival. The Sun School or the Supreme Gate clan have got this special sword and this special mirror.
Yeah.
Right, that you don't really see in action until towards the end of the film. So you're wondering, why the fuck are they stealing a mirror?
Right.
So they steal that. There are lots and lots of skirmishes. Betty Lottie gets, so her dad, Betty Lottie's dad, gets the poison palm or whatever the hell it's called.
We should explain this. So it turns out that she's unaware that her dad is the villain. That her dad is.
Yeah, we haven't got there yet, though.
Okay, all right. So never mind.
Oh yeah.
It's the icy press, isn't it?
That's the
icy press. Yeah, but that happens when he hits her with that after he knows that she is his daughter, and that happens after that reveal, right?
Yeah. But before that, he does it on her dad.
Oh yes, of course.
On the head of the clan, and then she has to go on this quest to the it's a really cool name, and I can't quite see it in my notes. The Mountain Sage or something, isn't it? It's like the
Sky Sage.
That's it.
The Southern Sky Clan.
Sage.
Like another martial arts, and she has to go get a little ball of medicine or whatever.
Just a pill, just a tablet, and she goes and gets that, and she meets Chan Yang, who's like the kind of male lead in this. Comes back, the dad's dead. She gets kicked out of the school. finds
Because
out
it's
that
then
Han is
revealed.
her dad. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Han does. I'm just calling him Han now.
Yeah, sure.
Second does the icy press palm thing on her by accident, sort of. Yeah. She goes blind and becomes fucking Zatoichi at the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
so
fucking
this
brilliant.
this predates. I was looking this up because this predates, I think, by a year, the Blind Oichi, like the Japanese ripoff, female ripoff of the Crimson Bat, right? I was like, oh, which, and then this is before that.
But I don't think necessarily. I don't think Crimson Bat ripped this. I think they're both just ripping off Zatoichi.
Of Zatoichi, yeah. I assume that Zatoichi is the source for all of this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And then there's a big fight at the end. Turns out the Sun Clan aren't that good, but then actually they are all right in the end. They were just taken over by another dude.
Well, the real villain of the piece as well.
Yeah, it turns out to be somebody else anyway.
Chan, right?
No, exactly. Yeah.
He's quite good too. It's kind of skinny, like a creepy looking,
scrawny little horrible
dude. He reminded me of there's a like Mikio somebody. There's a Japanese actor who, in a weird way, he reminded me of the same kind of thin.
Who's called Mickey or someone.
Mickey
O'Sullivan or something.
He's Irish Japanese.
Mickey O'Reilly.
Mickey O'Reilly, yes.
Yeah. So, in conclusion, there are lots of interesting traps as well in Setkin's palace, where she gets kind of kidnapped to, I think, for a bit. Lots of nice wuxia flavor, lots of martial world
flying
stuff.
about. Even did you notice quite a nice touch? There's a bit where when Kelly Lai Chan's characters turn up with his henchmen, and they're like backing up. They go back up on the roof, and then they just poof, they disappear.
Yeah.
Yes.
A little bit supernatural. I quite like that.
Yeah. There's a really fucking cool fight in an inn with Betty Loti catching a sword in her fingertips and all that business. And the end fight is really, really cool. Yeah. So this is
decent amount of blood. Again, reminds me maybe of Chambara of the same era with the kind of arterial sprays and in fact, as I said, it did remind me of a kind of a weird mashup of Chambara and wuxia. It was definitely not just a fine swordsman.
No, because it's really Chinese as well. This is really ingrained in kind of wuxia, but also it's clearly drawing from Japan, isn't it? And particularly Zatoichi.
It's another brick in the wall as well of this kind of thing that we've been slowly realizing over the years. Again, 68 Taiwan. Nobody does it better, right? Like real leaders of the pack, right? This was, I would argue this could go up against and probably, be better than most 68 wuxia Hong Kong.
Yeah.
It's really well done, right?
Yeah. And also it looks like it's got a really fucking good budget as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's because it looks like it had some money chucked at it.
Be nice
or they would
in a clearer print to be. This is something in desperate need of a proper restoration.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? This is one of the films that whenever it was late 90s, early 2000s or something, this was one of the ones that Rare Scope put out, isn't it?
Oh, was it?
Yeah, and they did put out a film because I think that's when we started maybe paying attention because they made a point of putting out some Taiwanese rares. And but it's about I don't know in what condition the negatives are or anything like that. But if we could get some sort of, like I said, when the Huang Zhangli event was here and those Taiwanese filmmakers who are doing that doc about Toby, which seems to be on the way out, right?
They're filming it. In London. Well, it's filming a bit of it in London on Sunday. I'm gonna try and get to that.
So they were just talking to them about Taiwan film preservation and stuff, and there's definitely it's a it's a point that needs to be made and underlined, and we need to, doing our little bit here, we need to really press this issue, of like Taiwan cinema in and of itself, and how pioneering it was, right? So
yeah.
Is a nice example. It's not a classic necessarily, but it's a solid piece of wuxia entertainment, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I can't find fault with it, right? So
Yeah.
I'm gonna stretch it to a classic.
Okay,
in
well,
my mind.
I mean, if you'd have seen it in '68 on a Friday night in Taipei, I'm sure it would have raised the roof, right? It would have been a good night out.
Yeah. And I had a wonderful time watching it.
It has a nice sort of romantic subplot too, with the Southern Sky guy kind of reteaching her how to fight blind. It kind of
there's fucking training scenes in this. There's a training scene in this.
Yeah, but they're weirdly romantic. There's an element of dirty dancing of Jennifer Grey and Patrick Swayze about the whole scene where he reteaches her how to. And also, I mean, maybe they ripped it off for that movie you love, Clive, Star Wars, right? The Obi-Wan Kenobi teaching Luke how to fight with the blast shield down.
Get off this podcast. Go on. Go and stand in the corner.
No, I think he was more like...
wipe out the last 5 minutes of everything I've said as well, because I've been talking as if this is a Taiwanese film and it's Hong Kong.
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Why have I been doing that? And neither of you picked up on it.
Why were we agreeing with you?
It feels Taiwanese, doesn't it?
I think it just feels different to Shaw's, which is what
and it might be because it's Mandarin language as well.
Yeah, I think
because
so I think
we can tell the difference, right?
Well, actually, I can tell the difference in Cantonese.
Between Mandarin and Cantonese, I usually can.
It sounds more
Jianxi. That's how we know the difference.
Polite or something, but I think that might just be the way it's represented cinematically as well in these kind of period films. But no, I think so what I just said kind of mixed that up a bit, because that does come into play with our next film.
Yes.
I think.
Why don't you do some, what's it called? ASMR. Why don't you do some overdub? And wherever you say, go back and edit it, and wherever you say Taiwanese,
I'll dub in me going,
have a different
Kido! Yes.
Yeah, or just independent. Independent instead of Taiwanese. That's what you really meant.
Kido, I think.
Oh yeah, why not? Yeah, because that'll make perfect fucking sense, won't it? Before we get to this point.
And also I'll edit in the Welsh national anthem.
Oh, please.
Like they did in whatever.
Yes.
We were talking about.
I don't think people are seeing that until October, though, are they? Is that the one we mentioned that in? Probably
Never
was.
mind.
Well. Oh no, I saw it again. No, it was not in ShawScope.
Okay.
Yes, carry on.
But also some nice stolen Ennio Morricone music, as often is the case in this era. It sounds like either a fistful or a few dollars more pieces of that score, which seems to always work, regardless of it seems to work really well in any period piece action film. Like that music just travels the world very well.
Yeah, it's like yakety sax works for any.
Yes,
makes everything funny, right?
Yeah.
All right,
cool.
We're all agreed that's well worth your time. I think.
Hell of a good time.
Yes. However, I have to say, as much as I enjoyed it, my personal choice is this next one. I really liked this. Like, this one needs a proper fucking restoration pronto, I think. So this
and the other thing is there's two versions of this, right?
Right.
So there's two cuts of it that are available vaguely.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched the whole thing twice.
I watched them side by side.
Yeah, so I watched them consecutively, more or less, over a couple of days. And I had no fucking problem doing that. And that's quite the long version that's really poor quality is really fucking poor quality.
Yeah.
It's bad quality.
Yes.
But I was into finding out what the differences were. I was into the, what extra can I squeeze out of this film? You're right.
Well done for doing that with. I don't think I'd have been able to grasp the differences unless I'd watched them side by side because they're quite hard to study.
Yeah. My mistake was actually watching the bad quality version first.
Right.
Because I started watching the bad quality version and I thought, no, fuck it, I actually can't understand what the plot is.
Yeah.
So I better watch the short version that's got proper subs on.
This was we'll get into it properly, but I says this might be one of those times where the difference is. I mean, if I had to guess, it's nothing to do with censorship. It's nothing to do with tightening up the running time. I'm wondering if it might be something to do with just print damage or something. And they were like, well, cut that bit out because
trimming. Yeah.
I mean, so we will. Did you watch both versions as well, Nick?
No, I think I started watching the one that was poorer quality and longer, and it was just like, this is so soupy looking, and so I didn't.
So we're talking about there's a 76-minute version, which is not bad quality, actually, to be fair, and it's got some nice. They've redone the subtitles in
subs are really
yellow,
good.
much easier to read.
Yeah,
and judging by the fin at the end, I'm guessing it comes from a French print. And then the other one runs 84 minutes, and the quality is fucking abysmal.
Yes.
Bad.
And there's no frame rate difference or anything. There is actually literally at some point just 8 minutes of the film is in one bit and not in the other. And
it's not even that interesting a bit if I identified it properly.
It's not. And I was trying to figure out as well, like, is it confusing if this bit isn't in it or not? And I don't think it is. So
no.
If you're looking for a fun viewing experience, I think you're probably all right to go on and just watch the 76-minute. You're not missing much. Not really.
Although, what I would say is you are missing more of Wang Qingping, who is something of a revelation to me in this.
I do like old Wang Qingping. Yes.
Yes.
But the best stuff in the missing, I don't mention it now just because it doesn't make any difference. But so our main villain, who's a great villain, is Chang Yi. But the only thing I like, there's a bit where ahead of his plot coming together or whatever, he goes into the kind of royal chamber or something, and he just sits there and imagines that he's in power and there's people talking to him, and he's just enjoying himself, and then flies through the air, which is good, horizontally, because he doesn't do there's some wuxia wire work, him flying about stuff, but that's the only bit where you see him flying horizontally, like Captain Marvel on a string. But anyway, so Dragon Gate it's set, so it's what do they call it? Yan Dynasty, right? I didn't have time to look up the
no.
I'm basically, it's a jockeying for power film, isn't it? And the other reason, it looks like it starts with this bone-strewn kind of desert wasteland, right? I don't know where it was shot, but it's got some great locations.
It's got a shit skeleton in it, though.
Well, any skeleton.
I know. No, I agree with you, but the skeleton in it, and it's not actually a skeleton, it's a skull, but I wanted to say skeleton, and I put my hand up again.
Oh, for fuck's sake. What you need to do, you need to do it so that when you do that, a little skeleton comes up in the corner.
Oh,
that would be cool.
I'll look into it. I don't even know how to stop it anyway. But yes, not even a skeleton. It's just a skull, but it looks like one of those skulls you used to buy in the sweet shop that was white chocolate and had red stuff inside.
Yes, I've forgotten about those. You can also get the mice as well. I remember the white.
The white mice. That was good shit. That was.
Yeah.
But I always preferred the skulls.
I'm glad you mentioned the chocolate there from it, because for a few seconds I was like, what kind of fucking sweet shop did you go to that had skulls on sale? But yes, skull-shaped chocolates. That makes, yes, I do remember those. We're also, for some reason, I don't know if it's to do with your hand thing, but we're skipping around. Did you notice that as well?
Yeah, I think it's because I put my hand up. I think it moved me to top position. I think, and then it's moved me back. I think that's the problem.
The hand's gone.
Yeah.
Right.
So welcome to our video, our Zoom video tutorial.
Yes. 3 old men figure out.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
turned
if you're
50
running Windows
this week.
98, then
Talk
you might
to the
struggle.
hand because the head ain't listening scope. There we go. Look at Darren being
It
all
won't even fucking
succeed.
do it now.
Yeah,
I did.
There we go. There we go.
Sorry. At least I haven't put the echo back on.
Yes, that's true. It's been a while since we've had the echo.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's this. Yeah. So and yeah, it's what's his name? He's got quite a good name, isn't he? Changi.
Tortor.
Toto.
Yes.
Yeah.
Toto.
So yeah, it turns out he's as well
the
as being a
dog of
badass
Wizard of
kung fu
Oz.
villain. He invented the onion router. Years and years and years and years ago. That joke has just landed on Baron.
What are you talking
Brown.
about? What?
Tor, the onion router.
I don't know. These are just unconnected words as far as
Or just noises at this point. They're just syllables.
You know, this is when you don't like when you don't go through like a proper internet server and you want to go on the dark web and you do it by going through other people's that's called the onion router, TOR, Tor.
I see.
That's how you get on the dark web.
I haven't bought a gun for years, so you know.
This is true.
Yeah,
yes.
no, I'm all
my black tar heroin. I now get from a it's legal in Canada now. I just get it.
Get in the shop, innit? Off license.
Yeah.
With your skulls.
Yes, with my.
But you have to go to the dark web to get human ones.
Changi wants to take over, and you've got what's his name, who always plays like gay mincing characters. He's like the ineffectual.
Oh, Wei Ping Ao.
Yes, they were Wei Ping Ao.
Okay.
He's really fucking good in this, by the way.
Huh?
He's really good in this.
He's fun, isn't he? He's like, I've got my wine and my women. I don't really care what happens, right?
Although he comes good in the end, though, doesn't he?
That scene.
To be fair, what he does at the end is when everyone else has actually done all the hard work.
Yes.
He just says, "Useless creature," to Changi after he's dead. He wouldn't dare fucking say that to him before he dies.
Well, I mean, one of my favorite scenes in the whole film is when Tortor comes in and the king or whatever he is. I assume he's the king, right? He's obviously involved in some sort of like sexual moment, right, with some young lady, and he fucking kicks her out. Like, you know, can you do that? Can you walk into the king's palace and be like, "Hey, slut, get out, have her executed"? And the king
kind of
like,
your Chang Yi.
Yeah, and the king said like, "Ooh, I was enjoying the blowjob, but oh fuck, I guess."
I forgot to mention that apart from those 10 minutes, there's little bits missing from a little bit longer, the longer version as well. And yeah, one of them is there's one awesome scene where Chang Yi, Wei Ping Ao are at court and they're enjoying eating and drinking while a woman's being interrogated and whipped, and it's clearly their TV dinner, isn't it? They're chewing some
special little trays that sit on their laps as well. It's got a little thing for the remote control.
Yeah, so that scene's a little bit longer, and I thought, yes, it did give me thoughts as to maybe I should find some new entertainment for my supper in the evening. That looked like a lot of fun, but. Yes, and the Meow people, they're the people in danger of being taken over, as represented by Xu Feng, who's the princess Kai of the Meow people. Little Princess, her sister, Darren's favorite, Wang Qingping.
I like her.
The ragamuffin. She's fantastic.
And our handsome lead, Liu Chang Liu Shang-Chia,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Star of Monkey War.
Yeah.
And I looked this up. You looked this up, lads. So this is directed by Ulysses Ao Young-jui, who's always interesting.
King of Children.
Yes, and co-written by King Hu and Li Futi.
Yeah.
But the reason I bring up Ulysses Ao is so Liu Chang-chia, I was looking through his filmography. He's got a film called Go On, My Son from 1981, directed by...
Is that like a Minder spin-off or something?
Well, I was thinking that looks interesting. And when you have a minute, go over to the Hong Kong Movie Database, look at the poster for Go On, My Son. And I think that you also will want to be watching this film.
No. We've got the technology now, Clive. You talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to put the poster up.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the poster. I'm not quite sure what... It seems like a kind of comedy, but it looks like it might be, I don't know, science fiction-y or something. But it looks like a film I need to see. Let's put it that way.
Okay, we're nearly there. Oh, okay. Is it a say? Oh, yeah, he's a robot.
Yeah.
Right, hang on.
He's going to put
look at this command of technology.
Stop it.
Oh, I can't remember how to do it. Hang on.
Well, yeah, while Darren's figuring that out.
There we are. I've done it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it? Oh.
You got it? Are we in?
It says, oh, there we go. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so I'm enjoying that rather.
Yeah.
At the bottom as well, you've also got some kind of dissected mannequin robot woman.
Yeah, and a man with a chamber pot on his head.
In his pants.
In his pants.
This jolly looking John Pertwee motherfucker.
Oh, I like him. I like him already.
Are we agreed? This looks like a film we need to see.
Yeah.
Oh, look how angry he is.
Yeah.
Look how angry. Oh, he's furious.
What's that on the side of the head? Is that a broom? Oh, on the top there.
But, I don't know what that is. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
beret. Might be a beret.
John Pertwee's going up a telegraph pole as well.
With a monkey in his hand.
Oh, yeah.
That's always a bonus.
He's got a little capuchin there, yeah.
Yeah. And look at this bloke, yeah. He's wearing a little... Is he wearing a hat or is that his hair? Has he got a funny shaped head or is he wearing a little beanie cap?
But clearly, this is a film for the list, right? Go on.
This is destined for our perusal, isn't it?
Right. Get rid of that now, Darren. Oh, it's also got a different title
we've
on the
enjoyed
poster.
that. That's given some... What?
At the bottom of the poster, it's got a different English title. Somebody or Nobody.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. So that
was fucking relevant, wasn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, back to the Dragon Gate.
We haven't even described the plot of yet. Really.
Well, I did.
You didn't really?
Yeah. It's a jockeying for power and land.
Okay, yes.
Oh, okay then.
Yeah. And
the meow people are the ones that we saw at Halloween, if you remember, with Succubari and Princess Intoxicant.
Is that them?
They're the same. That's them. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I can see why they got run out of town because they're always eating frogs.
Eating mice and things.
Yeah, I have less sympathy for them now.
That's what I'm saying. These aren't. They shouldn't be supported by having geek business.
Speaking of which, there's another connection to that film as well because Carter Wong.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert! Turns out to be a double agent.
Yeah. Well, it's hardly a spoiler, is it? Because he's clearly fucking Carter Wong and not being a baddie.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess. But you're not quite sure what he's up to.
Yeah.
Yes. No.
So yeah.
This was this was a blast, I thought. From start to finish. This is really good. And it looks kind of mini epic. It looks
Mm.
like this needs to
Mm.
be restored properly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And
this
I think that the whole Meow tribe thing, the Meow people thing, is a really nice flavour to put in it, because they're clearly getting really ethnic and putting a lot of the, you know, different peoples of China flavour on it. You know, because they all wear turbans, don't they?
Yeah.
And there's this special sword. It
The
seems like a very kind of
locations as well. Reminded me a little bit of, even though we weren't that fond of the overall, the Dragon Gate remake, right? With the desert location.
Yes.
And and there's a few other films I can think of. There's that Swordsman in Double Flag Town, Grass Sand, and I'm sure there's more I haven't seen. But yeah, it's notable when you see these films in those kinds of extremely arid environments rather than a mountain with a jungle and a quarry.
Yeah.
So I like to see that. I guess, and I just, because I know exactly what Nick's about to say next, because I think it also gives it that slightly macaroni western crossover flavor.
That isn't what I was going to say, but you're right.
No, but you would have got around to it at some point.
But I would have got around to it.
While we're on it, Thomas Mayan, Lone Wolf and Cub, there we go, done.
Sure. I was gonna say there is a feeling of the Outer Hebrides, about like, you know, like the limits of, like, you know, this area of almost like no man's land, right? Which I do think is in the original like Dragon Inn, right? That feeling of like you're on the. Did you mean to
say Outer Mongolia?
No, I meant Hebrides.
Okay.
But yeah, like
desert.
Yeah, I didn't understand that.
Beyond the pale, you know.
So it's like the borders of society, right? So society is here, and that's the border where things are wild.
And I mean, the term barbarians is thrown around in this film, right? You know, like, you consider us barbarians, and this, that's always interesting to me. This idea of, like, you know.
I like the exotic flavor of the Meow people.
The fucking hats. So there's a scene where a couple of guys show up wearing these gigantic black hats that look like they come out of The Fifth Element. They're like, was that a real fashion?
And one of them gets chucked, and they chuck one through a window as well, don't they? Like a weapon. Yeah.
But they are terrifyingly huge.
Yes. No, but there's lots of nice little flavors in this, and also, I know we're not on a kung fu podcast, but this is also a shapes film.
Yes.
Zhang Yi is pulling proper shapes in this.
Choreographed by Chan Chuen.
Yeah, classic. And
Ko Pao, who's in it as well. No, I didn't, but he's the guy. He directed Shaolin Iron Claws.
Yeah.
7 Commandments of Kung Fu, and that weird Ninja Kids, aka Ninja Death miniseries.
Yeah. No, there's some good.
So
good
he's someone to
filmography.
paying attention to. Yeah.
Probably on the other podcast, but yeah.
And someone gets their head chopped off in like the first 3 minutes of the film, which is always a bonus for me.
Yeah.
It's great. The opening is great because it's like I said, it's got this desert wasteland. It's got this epic feel. There's this kind of there's attack, and then immediately it moves to this other scene where the head is delivered, and the guards outside have been murdered, and it's just straight up. It's like, oh fuck, okay, we're in for a kind of ride, right? Like, doesn't waste any
you've not
time.
got a minute to think in this.
No.
It's straight at you.
I know Zhang Yi is one of the great kung fu villains, but I feel as if sometimes I forget about Zhang Yi. Like I'm thinking of, you know, Wang Jianli or someone like that, or even Eagle Han or something. And then
he reminds me a lot of Wang Jianli in this. Yeah,
but then seeing him again in this, I was like, oh yeah, fuck Zhang Yi. Of course, he's one of the great kung fu villains as well.
Oh yeah,
he's in the gala. Just I think I haven't seen a Zhang Yi film for a while or something. But
yeah.
Who plays Princess Ragamuffin?
Wang Qingping.
Okay, yeah, because she really is a standout for me. Not just in that she's super cute, but also like what she brings in terms of her energy. You know.
She's just rough and tumble, isn't she? She plays a really good character.
The whole scene where I don't know what she's attempting to do or put across, but like where she kind of runs in to save the other girl, right? And then
there's some lesbian business
like
going on.
Seems like it's that's the way it's
because she's not, at that point she's not pretending to be a man either, which is a trope. She's just pretending to be kind of a beggar. Yeah.
She's the Sino period Minnie the Minx.
Yes.
I would get on board with that. Yeah.
But unfortunately, there's not a bit where Changi runs in and slaps her with a slipper, which has been naughty.
No.
It's a scene that needs to be in there.
Yeah.
Hang on now. From memory, was Minnie the Minx's dad, did he have the same face as Teacher from Bash
Yes.
Okay,
I think maybe they were both. Yeah, it was. They were both Leo
Baxendale, right.
Comics.
Right.
So yeah, pretty much he had exactly the same face as the Teacher.
Also, if I remember correctly, Teacher from Bash Street Kids' wife had the same
face also. You are correct.
But without a mustache and some earrings or something. Yes.
Yeah. So moving back to the film. So so you've got Changi trying to basically usurp the emperor, right? But you've also got and I haven't made a note. I don't think I can identify which cast member he is. But you've also got the kind of corrupt Meow tribe person who wants to take over the Meow tribe.
Right.
Who nicks the sword, and there's this whole the sword is this big MacGuffin, the Meow sword.
The Imperial sword, we don't really see much of that, do we?
No.
Well, not until the end. But if you own the sword, you're the leader of the Meow people. That's how it works.
Final fight as well.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Well, it's ahead of its time. Moving from Nottingshire to Achafuz, right? Which I know this isn't, but this is ahead of its time. This looks like it might have. This looks post Secret Rivals, but in terms of shapes.
Yeah,
exactly. So it's got that late 70s shapes flavor with Changi doing his thing at the end, specifically in the end fight with the Mantis. I think.
No. Yeah. It is. It's funny. It's one of those films. Obviously we've talked about this before. There's thousands of them, and they've all got generic English titles or whatever. But I'm still surprised this doesn't come up a bit more in conversation, especially because it's got a King Who connection as well, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think until I went trawling around, I don't think I'd ever heard of this 97.
No, I've never heard of it.
When you dig in and try to find other people's reviews of the film, they are almost impossible to find. It has a very, very limited web presence.
It's another one. It's another one though that is. It's funny. There's so many of these people you lose track every now, and it's so nice to be reminded. But yes, another really interesting Ulysses Howe film.
Yes.
Ulysses. The more Ulysses Howe films I see, I'm like, fuck, this guy was making some really interesting stuff. Yeah. Including Go On, My Son, which we have yet to see. But I mean, I'm very excited to see if that's about.
Yeah, I mean, we're probably not going to do it on a not in ShawScope, I would imagine, Clive.
Well, I find it right now this minute we are, but I don't think I'm going to.
It's not. I've already looked. It's not up on Cinemageddon.
Okay.
But you may be able to find it elsewhere.
Yes. Anyway, but I mean, final fight, local flavor, or exotic tribe flavor. Wei Ping Ao is doing an unusually good job of being noble, which is nice to see.
I don't think he is. To be fair,
he is. Yes, he is. No, I disagree. I think this is a rare, heroic moment for Wei Ping Ao.
At the very, very end, when everyone else has done all the
and he is, and Changi is just wailing on. I think he's wailing on. Who's he wailing on? I can't remember. Anyway, he's wailing on someone. He's just nearly killing someone. And
the only thing I would say,
Wei Ping Ao next.
he's slightly brave because I don't think I would even dare say useless creature to
his
Chandler's
corpse.
corpse, just
Corpse.
in case he had one more,
Yeah.
last sting in the tail left in him. He just suddenly reach up and rip your throat out or something.
Yeah.
I'd stand quite far away. And then I'd whisper,
Also,
useless creature, and then run away.
Yeah. Also, there's some other cool bits in this I've just remembered. One of which is the poison dart thing.
Oh yeah.
So all the meow people have like poison darts in their boots, so they just whip out a little blowpipe.
Mm-hmm.
And then and there's this villain in it, this other kind of henchman character who just looks like a fucking vampire. Do you remember him?
Yes.
He's like the sub boss, isn't he?
Yes. Yeah.
And he's just like really pale and really kind of weird looking. And he gets killed with a poison dart, and he like turns all grey and horrible.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, so that's a nice bit of local flavour, and I really like that villain, I think, just because he had like this weird, fucked up look. That's it. That was all I have to say on that.
Yeah, I think, are we all done and dusted on Dragon Gate?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
It's it's definitely one for the, again, it's, sometimes it's just daydreaming, because who knows what exists. And to be fair, that version that is up on Wu-Tang, which seems to be from a French print, is very, very watchable.
Yeah.
But it would just be nice, if at some point someone could cobble together some kind of composite with all the footage in at least as good condition as that stuff. And the other thing as well is kind of interesting when you're watching. So even though 100% the shorter version is a much nicer print version, what is kind of interesting though is if you're watching it back on your PC, there are certain scenes that are so dark you can't see, but they're much brighter in the shit version. And you can actually see what's happening.
Out somehow, isn't it? But it seems like it's washed out.
Yeah. So sometimes it is kind of interesting to watch. Oddly enough, there are benefits even to like the shittiest print sometimes, right? Just so you can actually see what's happening. So, but no, definitely, if it's possible in any way, shape, or form, just at least in terms of worthiness, this needs a restoration.
Yeah, I'm gonna say something quite controversial. I would say that
careful now, Nick. You can't say those things anymore.
No, I would say that this is more worthy. This is more worthy of getting that kind of the proper, fully restored, HD 4K, maybe than that Billy Lau Vampire Kids film that we watched.
Fucking hell!
Again, makes no sense because that doesn't come in.
No, that's not coming until October.
If you're going to choose a film from Taiwan to give that kind of level of high gloss to, maybe
because there's only 2 films out of Taiwan, right? So you have to compare.
You've got to choose one. I'm not sure why they chose Vampire Kids.
Right. Okay, moving on and apologizing for Nick's
outburst.
Quack, 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 quack.
Quack, 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 quack.
So the next one then.
Goodbye,
Dragon Inn.
Dragon Inn. 2003, we're in Taiwan again. Directed by kind of celebrated art house figure Chai Ming Liang. I suppose came to prominence with that film, The Hole, right? I think that's the first one of his that got traction.
I'm not really aware of him, if I'm honest. But
no, I actually wasn't really either before this.
Yeah.
I assume that film is just a static camera shot of a hole for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
No, there was a bit more to it. I quite like The Hole, but no, he's definitely, I can see he does kind of make the kind of films that that beret wearing types might rhapsodize about, but the layman crazy.
It's like if like the most obtuse parts of a Jim Jarmusch film fucked the most obtuse parts of an Andy Warhol film. And for some reason I loved it. And I will say I was also highly stoned, which I think really helped.
Yes, that's gonna help. Yeah.
Because I don't think I've ever seen a film that allowed me so much freedom to explore.
Exactly. So I'm glad you said that, because I also absolutely love this film. But aware of
Yes,
how
how much
contentious
it could be
be.
testing the limits of someone
Yes,
else's
I really
thinking.
wanted to see where you both came down. So we'll get into details, but obviously, so we've established that I love
Hang
it.
on. There
Nick
aren't
loves
any
it.
details.
How about well? So how about you then, Darren?
Yeah, I'm a pendulum on this one.
Okay.
So it's if I think about it today,
turn your
I'll
eyes
love
away now, sensitive viewers. This is when Darren gets his swinging balls out to illustrate.
yeah.
He's like an executive toy. He is. They don't stop once they begin.
make a flesh clock.
I've seen them in action. It's a perpetual motion machine.
It is. It is. I could save the whole of humanity.
But you
with
won't.
my executive bollocks.
Yes.
But I refuse.
Yeah.
On the basis that I'm a bit embarrassed that the hair
like
is
Ming
really...
the Merciless.
Yeah. And funnily enough, we are talking about China. Anyway,
he is. Well, no, that's the thing though. The Ming the Merciless. If you trace it back to he is kind of a Fu Manchu yellow peril.
That's exactly that's exactly what I was getting at.
Yeah. But anyway, Darren. So yeah, what did you think?
Yeah. Okay. So I knew nothing about this going in. Right. I only knew that it was set in a cinema that's playing Dragon Inn. That's all I knew. Right. And that's the setup. Right.
This is like it's a cinema in Taipei. It's actually the Fu Ho Grand, and it's the final night, quiet rainy night in Taipei, and they're playing King Hu's Dragon Inn.
Well, see, interesting. So I went into this completely blind, and actually, initially, I thought it was a period piece. So I initially thought that this was set during the first run of Dragon Inn.
Right.
Because if you look at the clothes people are wearing, particularly the staff, the female staff, it could kind of be the 60s, you know.
Well, also, you say going in blind, because one of the film posters for other films showing is the eye.
Yes, so I've noticed that.
Yeah.
No, and that's what made me clock, actually. Yeah.
Right.
And the neon and stuff, anyway. Yeah. But yeah, so I got into it. I was sitting there waiting for something to happen because I think it's about 3/4 of an hour in, about halfway through, before there's any dialogue.
Right,
from the characters in the film.
Yeah. Not that as much.
Yeah. And I think up until probably 2/3 of the way in, it was getting on my fucking nerves. because and that's the thing, right? Is I think I came around in the end, right?
It had a cumulative effect on you.
It did. However, you've got to get there first.
Right.
And I think if I was watching this for pleasure, I probably wouldn't have made it that far.
You'd have turned it off.
I think I probably would have done. And in retrospect, I would have regretted that. But yeah, in essence, just to explain it, it's, as you say, it's the last night of this cinema. Except you don't find that out until the end. There's no plot to speak of. It's just people in the cinema
wandering about. There's like
it's people in the cinema going about their business. Yeah.
There's a projectionist. There's a Japanese tourist and some other customers, and cameos from Chichun and Miao Chan from Dragon Inn.
In essence, it's mostly in silence. The only dialogue in the film, is generally speaking, is the dialogue from Dragon Inn.
Yes, you hear Dragon Inn throughout, or it's the sound of falling rain as well, which I also
falling rain or crunching on popcorn or snacks or whatever.
Or creaking of the actual pipes in this ancient.
I think probably at the hour mark, I was getting ready to eat my own fist. But as I kind
To be
of
fair, just to for context for people who don't know, that is actually Darren's cinematic snack of choice. He puts a bit of salt on his knuckles
that's it,
and
and a bit of a
gnaws away at
munch.
it. Yeah,
That's it. Yeah, yeah. It's like a ham hock.
yeah. Or what's that stuff called you get in pubs?
Beef jerky.
No, what's the pork scratch?
Pork scratchings.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I particularly like the hairs as well. So yeah, that's quite apt. But yeah, no. So I think up until the hour mark, I was ready to kind of just say what the, just like rage, put the film off and refuse to talk about it tonight. But I think as soon as I settled into it, and it took a long time for me to settle into it because the editing in this film is pretty much non-existent. It's just more or less static
takes.
shot.
Long takes.
Yeah, it's
long
just
takes
long.
And
Yeah.
action taking place. Well, not action, but events taking within the frame rather than
Exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I mean,
never follows anyone.
yeah, and you know, there's a 5-minute sequence of someone emptying a bucket.
You
know,
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the level that you're gonna get from this film. However, as soon as I got to the end, or as soon as I got kind of to the 2/3 mark, I realised that it's actually, for me anyway, it's actually just a mood piece. It's about mood.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
and it's about sitting in silence.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a meditation.
It is absolutely.
Yeah.
I kept thinking how amazing it would be to have seen this in a rundown cinema.
Yeah.
I just kept thinking, imagine being in a grotty rundown cinema, and then almost like it would be like watching a mirror in some strange way.
Yeah. However, I'm still annoyed with it. So whilst I recognise its quality, right, and whilst I recognise that as soon as you enter the world of that cinema, right, as soon as you enter the world of Dragon Inn, then you just sit down and you're just in contemplation in the same way as the cinema goers are, right? Because they haven't got a lot going on either, and you just end up sitting in contemplation. You end up watching static shots of someone watching a film.
Yeah,
and then you start to think,
even though there's a lot of stuff happens in Dragon Inn, like the opening of Once Upon a Time in the West as well, is a film about people waiting for something to happen, isn't it? So it's got that kind of through line in a way.
Yeah, but the only thing that happens is the film ends and the cinema closes. That's it.
But it is totally mesmerizing for me, at least. Like I don't know what it is. It's interesting. I don't know why, because I can totally see why you wouldn't. And I wasn't primed for it, I think. But when I saw this film, I was just in. And I'm very interested to hear what Nick's got to say on it as well, because I haven't. I suspect it works anywhere in the world, and also it's a love letter to cinema as well, in particular. I think. But the one thing about it, I had a personal connection with, is the whole thing about like people invading your space because this is something I'm very familiar with from the dodgy sex theaters here. And there's like a scene.
Yeah, so it's we should say that so apparently in real life as well, the cinema in which this was shot had become basically a gay cruising spot.
Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense to me, because I've been in that position, where you're there and there's no one else, but someone will come and sit right next to you, and you're like, what? Like,
yes, actually, yes, I have a point to make on this.
Okay.
Now, I don't think it was a cruising subtext that I was witnessing here, but something that unnerved me, a scene that unnerved me in this film was, there's a scene, quite a long scene in a toilet, in the
yes,
toilets.
That as well is
yes,
yeah,
and there's 4 men in the toilet, right? And there's probably 12 urinals,
Right.
Yes.
right?
And they're
And they
all
all-
clustered. Yes.
Yeah, they all stand next to each other.
Mhm.
And I did feel they jumped the shark a bit in that moment, because I don't think that was about cruising. I think that was just some urinal culture that's alien to me as a Westerner.
But there was a guy
'Cause-
giving blowjobs in the stall, right? I mean, that was pretty clearly
Right.
established, right?
Yeah,
You-
but I did actually find it quite funny. So you've got these 4 people clustered around the
Yes.
stall.
Well, that's the
but
other
someone's-
surprising thing is because the film has such a low tempo. When it's funny, it's really funny, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because you're
And
laughing.
this dude's just left his cigarettes and lighter on the top of the
Yes.
urinal, and he
That was
just like
brilliant.
literally just like reaches past 2 people's heads to get them.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's it's like I said, I just found it, and just having the direct experience of that kind of behavior as well for me just made it that little bit extra. I had that personal connection, right? But obviously,
Well,
you really got absorbed.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a few reasons. So I worked night shift at a porn video store in my early 20s, right, which was extremely run down and like things hanging out of the ceiling, the floor peeling and stuff. And by the end of this film, by the end of this 90, well, it's not even 90 minutes, I felt like I worked in that cinema for maybe 6 years. I felt like I totally knew how to get from one area of the cinema to another, even though it's chopped up in a way. The awning where the rain is just falling, I was in love with that space. I was in love with, and then so I mean, to me, like the hero of this piece is obviously the woman with the orthopedic shoes, right? Like the who spends all fucking day going up and down these endless stairs in this cinema, trying to keep this place going. It's like this. There's something so sad and powerful and beautiful about this woman just trudging through the cinema, keeping it on life support until this night when it all closes down. And yet nothing.
Because on the one hand, she's like, "Oh, thank fuck for that," but obviously it's also deeply sad as well, where she's walking away in the rain, and you hear that song, the great song, by the way, Yao Li song that plays during the end.
But nothing.
I'm not familiar with that music, but
I wasn't either
till
I saw the
song,
film.
actually.
It's a great song. Yeah.
But it doesn't it's not like there's nothing sentimental about it. There's nothing they don't wrap it up. It's all so low key, but somehow completely worked for me. I was mesmerized, but I felt like I was physically in the space. And we talk about that feeling you get from certain films where you want to crawl in through the screen and just be there in that moment in space and time. And there was moments where I started to laugh, like when they would hold a shot for like 3 minutes where somebody just wandered out of frame. There's nobody in the frame, and then you hear a noise off camera, and like at a certain point, it became funny just by the sheer fucking bravura and brass balls.
Yeah,
to be yes, I'm not going to cut away from this for like another 2 minutes, and you're sitting there watching.
It's also the older I get, I tend to really appreciate. I've spoken about this before in some other, like, I really like films like there's it depends on the film, right? Like obviously if you're going to see a blockbuster film, theater or something, you don't necessarily want longers. You want, you want the action to pick up and you want to be entertained wall to wall, right? But there's something about, especially watching at home, I feel as well, there's something about films that have space for you in wander about. Like
in a weird way.
When there's a long shot, I'm looking around the frame, right, which I wouldn't normally do, and you
can. All the time, and your eye is constantly being directed by. Most films are constantly directing where they want you to look.
Yes,
and I couldn't remember the last time I was given the freedom to simply just
look
like
at what you
look at those drawers, and then what's going on with that pipe over there, and like I'd like to look at that bucket. What's that stain? It's just completely free to just wander with my eyes, and to the back of the frame, to the front of the frame, while a woman just sits there quietly.
Yeah, it's weird. There was scenes in this film where nothing happened for minutes and minutes and minutes, and I'm thinking, and then I start looking around, and then when it cuts, I'm wait, I was looking at that. Like,
I hadn't finished examining this. Yeah, absolutely.
But I think yeah, it's clearly it's clearly a mood. You clearly immerse yourself. You can, exactly as you described, you just end up looking at scenery that you never fucking do in any other film, right? Yeah. So it's unique in that respect. However, as much as I got out of the film, it still annoyed. I was still annoyed when it finished.
What was it?
But it gave me
like I understand.
Just
I
the
understand.
pace.
I understand
the
boring,
pace of it.
but annoying, actively annoying. What's?
Well, I think no. I see because I got into it in the end. So I did sink into it, and I just, as I say, I was in contemplation. You know, because of the film.
That you're maybe being trolled. I do think that was
exactly
these moments where I was like, oh my god, like they're really not going to cut away. Like they're still
exactly. It's a little bit. So the film felt a little bit like an assault.
Right.
You know, it felt a little bit like
there's an endurance test element.
But I was like I felt a little bit like I was the butt of the joke of the film. You know, but you know, as with any cinema. As you know, any form of cinema, if it gets a reaction, then it's succeeded, right?
Right.
And it got a reasonably visceral reaction, you know, albeit, you know, for me, you know, split in the middle between annoyance and actually I'm quite enjoying just contemplating the scene and what it is to be in the cinema and what is actually happening in my head when I'm immersed in the film.
Yeah, it's,
you know, which I'm immersed in, but also watching someone else be immersed in a film or immersed in their job. Or,
I think
so
it could be used as a great palette cleanser for like especially if people don't watch these kind of films very often. Right, just as a kind of just to introduce someone to this is something cinema can do as well, right? Which I think some people don't always necessarily look to cinema for, right? It's you know, people often tend to, as if it's gonna either to entertain or maybe to educate, but it can also be a meditative process.
Something else I really like too is there was a point where I started to think like, oh, is this gonna be like a no play where eventually something's gonna happen that's gonna be like really jarring, or you know, because of this like Zen type of like and I was really pleased that they didn't. That ultimately, you know, because I was like, is somebody gonna finally suck somebody's dick? Like, is this like, are we like, is that gonna happen? Because like there's so much
I appreciate
kind of, like, you know, play going on with the guys rubbing up against each other in those tight spaces and you know, or is I don't know, is the woman going to fall down like and break her, you know?
Well, it's not even fall down. It's like, you know, they have that little slip, you know, where you accidentally kick the back of your foot, and you know, but that not even that happened. But I agree. I think that it's, you know, it's certainly true to itself, right? This film's got an ethos. And this film is very staunchly staying true to its ethos, which is to be slow.
I'm really impressed that they stuck, because you can imagine at any point either making this film or editing this film, or unless you have this really strong authoritative voice behind it, it would be so tempting. Or, you know, you're showing it. You know, just showing this to, like, I don't know, invest. Yes, the film is finished. Here we go. Like if like
what would Miramax have asked? What would Miramax have asked to be done with?
Actually, that's slightly unfair because Roger Corman was in fact a huge fan of art house films, wasn't he? But right. But you know, you can imagine someone like thinking about getting their money back or something on this, or which actually they may have done. I mean, I don't know how expensive a film like this
Monty Hellman apparently is a huge fan, and there's a couple of other, if you read the Wikipedia entry, there's a few other like directors who basically put it at the very top of their top 10 films of all time.
Right. Yeah, no, it does have its fan base, but the thing is, but before that happens, before people, you must be second guessing. I mean, the strength will to just go through with it, right?
Yeah.
I also liked the kid. The kid was super cute. The little boy sitting watching Dragon Inn with his whatever he was eating.
I
like that woman who she dropped her peanuts or something and then went looking and then kept popping up like right behind.
Yes.
Yeah.
And was she supposed to be a lady of the night or not? I don't know, but she certainly scares our Japanese tourists right out of the cinema, which is one of those very kind of very low key comedic moments.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean it's probably the lowest key film that has been made in 20 years. It's all ever or fucking something.
Yeah, well, I said you have to go back
outside of like some art installation.
You have to
exactly.
That level of like
I'm sure. Yeah, if you wanted to, you could go and find some, 24-hour film of a brick or something if you wanted to.
Yes.
Yeah, but that would be an art installation and not designed to be shown in the cinema. But this is designed to be shown in the cinema. So, yeah. But yeah, I am still annoyed with it, but I can't, begrudgingly, I have to admit that it's quality.
So good. I'm glad we took this little excursion. I think the experiment was worth it.
Yeah, it was very interesting. Yeah.
Okay, let me just
that's us. Yeah.